it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Hey YouTube, it's your beekeeper here. You remember this door? Well, it's painted. We'll paint it on the outside. And here I am, climbing up all 43 stairs to the front door. Let's take a look at the inside. Oh, I just locked myself out. Are you freaking kidding me? Hold on a sec here. Remember this place? Let's build some molding. Here's my limitation here about doing fancy, too fancy. I've got 4.5 inches before I hit the wall. I don't know. Let's see how this works out. So there's the trim. I ended up setting up my cutting station like right in the middle of the walkway. Are you freaking kidding me? $100 worth of trim right here. That is not Home Depot trim. It's all real wood. Bought at a local lumber yard that mills all their own stuff on site, so it's really cool. Pretty cool. And we'll turn this $100 worth of trim into $1 million. Let's see how it goes. Hey, look at that. I'm all done. This is what we're shooting for. For the main door, for the side door. Can you see it? Okay, there's a little room we're gonna do. Like this. Can you see it? So this is how the molding is starting to lay out. This fluted molding here that I'm showing you, I terminated it on the top and bottom with just square stock. It just looks nicer than deadheading it right into that plinth block or into the header. And you'll see that strip that runs up the left side of the trim piece, of the fluted molding, excuse me. That's about 1/4 inch thick, and what that does is that allows the molding to be flush with the face of the door. Now the door sticks out from the wall almost a full 1/4 inch. Just the thickness of the door casing. So you put that little piece on the outer edge of that fluted molding and it squares everything up. That way all your angles and all your butt joints line up. So there's the right side. Now this is a piece of horizontal square stock, and what I did was I cut a 45 return so you don't see the open grain. It's kind of a, a scrappy piece of wood that they sell you, and the grain is just open. And I don't think it would paint out correctly. You would always see that. Now the header piece there I left open, and I'll explain that a little bit later in the video. But now it's starting to look like a door. We've got the fluted edge, we've got the header. Here's another return that I'm putting up that's going to go on the top of that header. And what I do to avoid face nailing is I come in on the side there when I do that little return piece. You see I put a couple nails in the side because it's not right in your face like a face nail would be. So that flat stock nail to the top, right there. And what I've done when I was at the lumberyard, I chose some of the trim I chose was pre-primed, the other stuff was not primed, so you could kind of see. So when I explained this to you guys, you could see the different layers. It's like a 3D puzzle when you start building fancy trim work like this. And now with the different colors of wood, you could see the different styles and different types of molding that's required to really trim out a door at this level. So the crown molding's on the top there, and I didn't get a video of it, but when you're walking down the stairs you could see inside to the void space behind the crown molding. So I put this piece of 3/4 inch flat stock on top with about a 1/2 inch overhang in the front and sides, and it caps it off. It's a nice cap, keeps dust and lint balls and stuff from collecting in there, and then when you're walking down the stairs you don't see that void space behind the crown molding. And that's it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in with some spackle and I'm going to fill the nail holes. I'm going to caulk the dark lines, and I'm going to put this thing in primer today. Most carpenters would walk away. So here's where we're talking about the end grain. I didn't do a return on this top piece here or the header piece here because the grain of this wood was really tight, and once I sanded it, it sanded out really smooth. And I know the paint will fill that. You won't see that it's an end cut, an exposed end cut, but that flat stock, because it's such cheap material, has these big, huge porous grains. So that one's done. And now we're going to move on to the bedroom, the bottom bedroom. This is just cheap 3-rib, buy anywhere kind of molding. And they wanted it to kind of match. So it strips off pretty easy. You come in with a utility knife and you cut the caulking. That way you don't rip the caulking between the trim and the wall. That way you don't rip the paper on the sheetrock. And you get a clean deletion of the old trim. Here's the molding, the flat stock molding for the sides. And I literally have about 20 minutes it took me to make it look like this. It's really pretty straightforward. Really straightforward trim job, but it made a huge difference. It was just a big improvement at tying in the bottom doors, the bottom trim. And there it is right there. Look at that. Easy upgrade. So let me move the ladder out of the way. See if I can step back and get you guys a good picture. What I'm going to do, I think I started to say before, is I'm going to fill the nail holes, caulk the dark lines. Now I'm going to go out to the truck and grab a bite to eat. And I'll come in later and I will leave it in primer. And most carpenters won't put stuff in primer. They won't fill their own nail holes. They'll leave it up to the painters, and I'm not a big fan of that. I think it's kind of a cop-out. So I like making sure everything looks good and tight, seams look good, nail holes look good prior to leaving it, and not just dumping it on the painter. If there are any finished painters that are watching this, you know what I mean. I work for enough carpenters that say don't spend your time on just get it close. You know, putty's your buddy, and we'll let the painters deal with it. I don't play that way because I've had enough stuff dumped on me. So I'm on my way out to my truck right now to grab a bite to eat, and I just wanted to show you. This is the leftovers. This is I bit it pretty tight. I went over on this fluted molding about 3 feet. Not quite sure why I goofed that number up, but all the other little cut off pieces there, I'm pretty satisfied with my bidding this job correctly. So now it's after lunch, and here it is in primer. I lightly sanded. And yeah, look at that. It came out a-okay. Homeowner was super happy. Made a huge difference having it all in one color. And then now it's up to the painter to put it in finish paint. But the inside of the door there, I'm trying to get this light to balance on this. The sun was just blazing. So that's a day. I got about 7.5 hours into this trim, start to finish, including, well, actually not including the trip to the lumberyard, but I think it came out all right. They were pretty happy. So here's how that termination looks. The termination block to the fluted molding gives it a little bit more character than just deadheading that fluted molding into the plinth block or into the header. Not too shabby. Well, there you have it. I could put this job to rest. It only took 5 months to get back here. But, you know, things happen on my end. Things happen on the homeowner's end. And, well, now we're in June. So there you go. This is how I had to fit it on this tight end. Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Stay tuned for more fun stuff. Thanks for watching.